colors of hair because you can see contrast against them on darker hair. So that's kind of like a side benefit of the blades being white as well. We're going to work with a technique called toe-to-heel cutting. When we're working with direct cutting is any kind of hair cutting where the blade is directly in contact with the client's head. Clipper over comb would be indirect cutting. We're not laying the blade on the client. Anytime we work with laying the blade directly on the client, number one, it's always a two-hand job. One hand on the clipper, one hand on the client, or one hand on the gas, one hand on the brake. Balance, stability, and control are very, very important. This, at the end of an outstretched arm, is an accident waiting to happen. That's how you lose control of what you got going on. Scalp scooting. This is an important technique. Now, this is a number 1.5 blade, as I said earlier. If we look on the back of the blade, this back blade, it says it's marked with 4 millimeters. That's how much hair it leaves behind on the head. 4 millimeters. How much hair does this blade leave behind on the head? 4 millimeters. No. Trick question. 4 millimeters or more. And that's important to understanding the concept and principles of direct cutting, whether you're fading or tapering, anytime you're direct cutting. We call this the toe of the blade. The leading edge of the blade is the toe. The back edge of the blade is the heel. We come in on the toe and get out onto the heel. Come in on the toe and get out onto the heel. That's that rocking motion that is so characteristic of classic tapered hair cutting. What's important to recognize is I come in on the toe and I get out onto the heel like that and I start doing what I call running a gap. Running a gap refers to the idea that when the blade is in contact with his head, there's a gap or space here between the toe and the head like that. That means my 4 millimeter blade is actually going to create a progressive increase in length. A progressive increase in length. That is the heart of what tapering is all about. Creating a progressive increase in length. No step, no ledge, no ridge, no line, no mark, no jump, no bump. That's tapering or fading. And by the way, the two terms tapering and fading, we use them interchangeably. Although you will see different uses of them in different markets. Hey, fade me up, I want to taper, you'll hear different things. Is there a difference between tapering and fading? No. I think there's a subtle difference. Yeah. Generally speaking, tapered haircuts are haircuts that will be characterized by haircuts that are lower down the head form, longer in length, and darker in overall finish. Tapered haircuts will have a lesser degree of what we call scalp exposure. Your ability to see the scalp through the hair. Contrastingly, faded haircuts, generally speaking, will be higher, shorter, and lighter in overall finish. Now, right now we're seeing a lot of these guys with temple fades, where they're just fading in, very little of that bottom edge. That's a whole lot lower. That would be maybe an exception to the rule, but generally speaking, tapers are longer, lower, darker. Fades are higher, shorter, lighter. Make sense? But other than that, the two terms are interchangeable. I referred to scalp scooting. Scalp scooting is important.